Hi, I'm Michelle. For the past 8 years, I've worked as a banking fraud investigator at National United Bank. I've seen every scheme in the book: elaborate wire fraud, check kiting, synthetic identity theft. But never did I imagine my own sister would be the one to target me. Michelle, you're coming to dinner Sunday, right? Sarah's voice chirped through my phone as I sorted through case files at my desk. I'll be there. Mom's making her famous pot roast? Obviously. Hey, random question. You still work in that boring fraud department? I laughed, twirling a pen between my fingers. Still catching the bad guys? Why? Just curious. Oh, did you ever fix that credit score issue you mentioned? The one from your student loans? I paused. I never mentioned any credit score issues to you, Sarah. Oh, must have been someone else then. Her tone shifted slightly. Anyway, I gotta go. Marcus is waiting in the car. After hanging up, I turned to Jake, my colleague whose desk faced mine. His eyebrows were perpetually raised in curiosity. Was that your sister again? He asked, leaning forward. The one who's always asking weirdly specific financial questions? She's just scattered sometimes. Been that way since we were kids. Jake shook his head, dark curls bouncing. Michelle, you literally investigate financial crimes for a living. Don't tell me those questions don't set off alarm bells. She's my sister, Jake. What are you suggesting? He shrugged. Nothing. But remember the Patterson case? Guy's own brother opened 3 credit cards in his name. Sarah wouldn't... My desk phone rang, interrupting my defense. Michelle Wallace, fraud investigation. Miss Wallace, this is Trisha from Equifax. You requested we contact you regarding an inquiry? I hadn't made any such request. Yes, go ahead. We're calling to verify the mortgage application submitted in your name yesterday. It appears to be the 3rd application this month. My blood ran cold. I'm sorry. What mortgage application? For a $200,000 property loan through First Capital Mortgage. The application lists your employment history, social security number, and uses your address from 3 years ago on Maple Street. My old address. The one Sarah had stayed at with me before moving in with Marcus. Jake watched my expression change. What is it? He mouthed. Trisha, I need to put you on hold for just a moment, I said, then covered the receiver. Someone applied for a $200,000 mortgage in my name. 3 applications this month. Jake's eyes widened. Holy. Run a credit check for me. Now, I whispered urgently. While Jake typed furiously at his computer, I returned to the call. Trisha, I did not authorize this application. I need to report this as fraud. 20 minutes and a comprehensive credit report later, I sat stunned at my desk. 2 credit cards, an auto loan, and 3 mortgage applications. All in my name, all within the past 3 months. The mortgage applications were sent from an email address, Jake said, pointing to his screen. Look familiar? I stared at the address. sarahwallace86@gmail.com. The IP address matches a location near River Heights, Jake continued softly. Isn't that where Sarah and Marcus live? Yes. My voice sounded hollow even to myself. My own sister. Jake placed a hand on my shoulder. Michelle, you know what we have to do. We handle these cases every day. I nodded, feeling a strange calm replace the initial shock. Call Detective Collins. Tell him we've got a clear-cut case of identity theft and loan fraud. Are you sure? Jake asked, concern etched across his face. It's your sister. That's exactly why I'm sure, I replied, reaching for my phone to make the hardest call of my career. Sarah picked the wrong person to steal from. She has no idea what I do for a living. Detective Collins arrived at the bank an hour later, his weathered face serious as he reviewed the evidence Jake and I had compiled. You've done half my job for me already, he said, flipping through the folder. Perks of victimizing a fraud investigator, I suppose. I can't believe she thought she'd get away with it, Jake muttered, shaking his head. Collins looked up at me, his eyes softening slightly. Miss Wallace, are you absolutely certain you want to pursue this? Family cases can get messy. Detective, if this were anyone else, would you be asking that question? I challenged, straightening the files on my desk. Fair point. He nodded. We'll need formal statements, and I'll get a warrant for her financial records. Jake leaned forward. The mortgage broker might be involved too. The documentation requirements for these loans are stringent. Someone had to know they were processing fraudulent applications. We'll look into that angle, Collins promised, making notes. But first things first. My phone rang again. My mother. It's my mom, I told them, hesitating before answering. Hello? Michelle. Sarah just called me, absolutely hysterical. Mom's voice trembled through the phone. She said men came to her workplace asking questions about loans and credit cards. What's going on? I closed my eyes briefly. Mom, I need you to listen carefully. Sarah has been using my identity to take out loans. A lot of money. I'm with the police right now. The police? Michelle, there must be some mistake. Her voice rose. Sarah wouldn't do something like that. Mom, I have the evidence right in front of me. Her email, her address, her fingerprints all over this fraud. But she said it was all a misunderstanding, that you'd given her permission to use your information for a small loan because her credit was bad after the divorce. I felt my jaw tighten. A small loan? Mom, we're talking about $200,000 in attempted mortgages alone, plus credit cards and an auto loan. And no, I absolutely did not give permission. She's your sister, Michelle. Families help each other. Detective Collins watched me with sympathy as I struggled to maintain my composure. Mom, identity theft is a felony. This isn't about family helping family. This is about Sarah committing a crime against me. So you're just going to send your sister to jail? Is that it? Mom's voice cracked with emotion. After everything we've been through as a family? Jake slid a notepad toward me with a hastily written note. Stay strong. You're the victim here. Mom, I have to go. We'll talk later. After hanging up, I sat in silence for a moment before turning to Collins. So, what's next? We bring her in for questioning. Today. His tone was decisive. I've seen too many fraud cases where the perpetrator flees once they know they've been discovered. She'll be at my mother's for dinner on Sunday, I offered. But you're right. We shouldn't wait. Jake tapped his pen against his desk. If we move now, we might catch her and Marcus together. The auto loan application has both their names on it, though only your social security number. So he's involved too, Collins noted. Might be useful leverage during questioning. Can I be there? I asked. When you question her? Collins hesitated. It's not standard procedure, but given your professional background, he considered for a moment. I can arrange for you to observe. Your insights might actually help us. I'm going too, Jake declared. As a professional colleague and witness to the discovery of the fraud, I felt a rush of gratitude toward him. Thanks, Jake. Don't thank me yet, he replied, gathering his coat. The hard part's still coming. Are you ready to face her? I nodded, a strange sense of resolve settling over me. More than ready. She needs to understand exactly who she decided to mess with. Sarah's face drained of color when Detective Collins and two officers appeared at her door. I stood back, observing from a few feet away with Jake beside me. Sarah Wallace? I'm Detective Collins. We need to ask you some questions regarding several financial applications submitted in the name of Michelle Wallace. Michelle? Sarah spotted me behind the officers, her expression morphing from shock to betrayal. You called the cops on me? Your own sister? I stepped forward. No, Sarah. You committed a crime against me. The authorities are simply doing their job. Can we speak privately? Her voice dropped to a desperate whisper. Please, Michelle. This is all just a misunderstanding. There's nothing to misunderstand about identity theft and loan fraud, I replied evenly. Especially when the evidence is as clear as it is in this case. Detective Collins gestured toward his car. Miss Wallace, we'd like you to come down to the station. You may bring your attorney if you wish. I don't need an attorney. I need 5 minutes with my sister. Sarah's voice rose sharply. Marcus appeared behind her, his usual swagger replaced by nervous energy. What's going on, babe? They're saying I committed fraud, Sarah said, tears welling in her eyes. Tell them, Marcus. Tell them about our financial situation, how we had no choice. Marcus took a step back. Whoa, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't sign anything. Sarah's head whipped toward him. Are you serious right now? This was your idea. Miss Wallace, Collins interrupted firmly. We can discuss all of this at the station. Michelle, Sarah pleaded, ignoring the detective. You know I was going to pay it all back. The house was an investment opportunity. We were going to flip it and return your money with interest. I crossed my arms. Without ever telling me? Without my permission? That's not how loans work, Sarah. That's theft. It's not theft when it's family. We've always helped each other. When have you ever helped me? I asked quietly. Name one time you've put yourself at risk to help me. Sarah faltered. That's not fair. I was going through a hard time. Marcus lost his job and the medical bills from Mom's surgery last year? Mom's surgery was 2 years ago, and I paid those bills, remember? You promised to pay me back your half. Never saw a dime. I was going to, with the money from the house. Tears streaked down her face. Please, Michelle. I'm sorry, I made a mistake, but I was desperate. Jake stepped forward. Michelle is one of the top fraud investigators at National United. Did you really think she wouldn't notice hundreds of thousands of dollars in fraudulent applications? Sarah's eyes widened. You're a what? A banking fraud investigator, I repeated slowly. 8 years now. You never told me that. I've told you dozens of times. You never listened. I shook my head. Just like you never listened when I tried to help you with your finances after your divorce. Michelle, she sobbed. I'm your sister. Please don't do this. I'll do anything. It's too late for that. You crossed a line, Sarah. You committed a felony. I'm sorry. I swear I'll never do anything like this again. Your apology means nothing, I replied coldly. Actions have consequences. It's time you learned that. Marcus suddenly bolted toward the back door. One of the officers quickly intercepted him, pinning him against the wall. Marcus Lloyd, Collins announced. You're also under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud and identity theft. I had nothing to do with this, Marcus shouted. It was all her idea. She said her sister wouldn't mind, that she'd never even notice. Sarah's face contorted with rage. You lying piece of... Both of you. Save it for the station, Collins interrupted, nodding to the officers to proceed with the arrests. As they were being led to separate patrol cars, Sarah turned to me one last time. You'll regret this, Michelle. Family is supposed to stick together. Mom will never forgive you. I watched impassively as they drove away, feeling strangely hollow despite finally having confronted her. Jake placed a hand on my shoulder. You did the right thing. I know, I replied quietly. But why doesn't it feel that way? 6 months later, I sat in the back of the courtroom watching as Sarah stood for sentencing. The trial had been surprisingly quick once all the evidence was presented. My meticulous documentation had made the prosecutor's job straightforward. The defendant is hereby sentenced to 3 years in state prison, with eligibility for parole after 18 months, the judge announced, her voice echoing through the silent courtroom. Additionally, full restitution must be made to the victim, and 5 years of probation will follow release. Sarah's shoulders slumped. Marcus had received a similar sentence the week before, after his separate trial. As the court adjourned, I gathered my belongings, prepared to leave without speaking to anyone. Detective Collins intercepted me at the door. Well, that's that, he said, holding the door open for me. Textbook case, thanks to your evidence. How are you feeling? Relieved it's over, I answered honestly. But there's no satisfaction in watching my sister go to prison, even if she deserved it. You protected yourself and potentially many future victims, he reminded me. Your sister and Marcus had attempted similar schemes before, just not as ambitious. The investigation uncovered 2 other victims. Jake waited for us outside, leaning against his car. How'd it go? As expected, I replied. 3 years, eligible for parole after 18 months. Your mom still not speaking to you? He asked carefully. She's coming around, slowly. The prosecutor showing her the full extent of what Sarah did helped. I sighed. She's finally starting to understand this wasn't just about money. Miss Wallace, a voice called from behind us. I turned to see Sarah being led out by a corrections officer, having requested a moment to speak with me. 2 minutes, the officer said sternly. Sarah's eyes were red from crying, but her voice was steady. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. Really sorry. I didn't think about how it would affect you. You only thought about what you could get, I replied, keeping my distance. I know what I did was wrong, but we're still sisters. When I get out, maybe we could… No. My voice was firm. We're done, Sarah. The trust is gone. You can't mean that, she whispered. After all these years, we're family. Family doesn't steal from family. Family doesn't try to destroy someone's credit and financial future. Family doesn't lie repeatedly when caught. I made a mistake. People deserve second chances. You've had dozens of chances. This was just the first time with legal consequences. I turned to leave. Goodbye, Sarah. Michelle, please, she called after me, her voice breaking. I have no one else. I kept walking, joining Jake and Collins without looking back. You okay? Jake asked as we headed to the parking lot. I will be, I said, feeling a weight lifting. For the first time in years, I feel like I'm not responsible for fixing her messes. Collins nodded approvingly. Sometimes the hardest part of justice is enforcing boundaries with people we care about. My team at the bank wants to develop a new training module based on this case, I mentioned as we reached our cars. Focusing on familial fraud and the warning signs. Turning something painful into something productive, Jake observed. Classic Michelle move. Life goes on, I replied with a small smile. And at least now I can rebuild without looking over my shoulder. As Collins departed, Jake lingered by my car. Some of us are getting dinner to celebrate closing the Henderson case tonight. Want to join? I considered for a moment. You know what? I'd like that. The sun was setting as we drove away from the courthouse, casting long shadows behind us. I wondered if other people would understand my decision to prosecute my own sister. Would they have done the same? Or forgiven the unforgivable in the name of family? What would you do if someone you loved betrayed your trust so completely? Sometimes the hardest decisions are the ones that ultimately set us free. If you enjoyed this story, please hit the like button and subscribe for more tales of justice served. Comment below with your thoughts. Would you have made the same choice as Michelle?